Odds that they concede immediately when they see a Pecharunt. What are the odds, guys? Let's find out. They're 100% going to concede when they see this. I knew it. I knew it. They see the Pecharunt. They just give up. The Pecharunt is too strong. Pecharunt, however you want to pronounce it. Snorlax can't do anything about the Pecharunt. This is the Turbo Roaring Moon EX list that got second place at the World Championships. Let's take a look at the deck list, see what's going on here, see what they cooked up to get second place at the World Championships. The biggest thing with this Roaring Moon EX deck is it is a turbo version. You want PokéStop down, you want to burn through your deck, you want Squawkabilly on your first turn, going first or going second. You do like going second with this deck to try and get that first turn attack to kind of just ruin your opponent's board state. You just want to turbo through your deck as quickly as possible, utilizing Dark Patch to get energy onto your Roaring Moon EX for a Frenzied Gouging or Calamity Storm. On your first turn, you're able to attack. We do run the 4 Roaring Moon EX. We have 2 Pecharunt, 2 Squawkabilly, 1 Fezandipiti, and 1 Baby Roaring Moon. The 2 Pecharunt are just so valuable. Snorlax stall concedes when they see it. You're able to just power up your Roaring Moons on the bench with Dark Patch, and you don't need a switch cart, you don't need a switch, you don't need your Prime Catcher. It's just a massive upgrade to Roaring Moon. Being able to switch your Pokemon in and out of the active at any time you want at the cost of being poisoned, but the poison doesn't normally do a whole lot to affect the matchup unless your Roaring Moon is staying in the active. And if your Roaring Moon stays in the active after you attack with it, your opponent has bigger problems. We do play the one of Baby Roaring Moon. This helps us in most matchups. It's actually really good in the prize trade. We only have 2 prize Pokemon outside of Radiant Greninja and Roaring Moon. So if you play the Roaring Moon down and your opponent knocks it out, then the prize trade swings in your favor, because if they have to take out 3 2-prize Pokemon on top of a Roaring Moon, that's 4 attacks minimum. And if you don't put the Greninja in play, then they have no choice but to take 3 2-prize knockouts. So at a minimum of 4 attack, you can easily win the prize trade just by going 2-2-2 and winning in 3 turns. If you're able to go with a 3-turn route, you're going to win most matchups. Roaring Moon mirror matches are pretty favorable if they're not playing this exact list. If you're playing anything that's less consistent, Miraidon feels basically free. I have not lost to a Miraidon deck playing this Roaring Moon deck. Raging Bolt just feels like a, 60-40. I mean, it just depends on who goes second in that matchup. If Raging Bolt goes second and they get the first knockout on a 2-prizer, it's not so great. If they take a knockout on your single prizers, then it's in your favor to come back and win that match. Having the Roaring Moon also allows you to bench it and use Subjugating Chains to put a single prize Pokemon into your active spot. So that way, if your opponent does go second, they have to have a gust effect to get around the Roaring Moon to take a meaningful prize. The Roaring Moon is not a meaningful prize. They still have to take 3 2-prize knockouts to win the game if you don't bench the Radiant Greninja. We play 2 Squawkabilly. You want Squawkabilly. Starting Squawkabilly in your active spot at the beginning of the game feels really nice. Roaring Moon, the baby version, is probably your most optimal starter, but seeing Squawkabilly in your opening hand feels so good. You want to use Squawk and Seize every single game. That's why we play 2 of them. We do not run the heavy ball. A lot of people would cut the second Squawkabilly for a heavy ball just so they were able to get their Fezandipiti, Roaring Moon, Pecharunt out of the prizes, but you're taking prizes so aggressively that you just don't need the heavy ball, but you do need a second Squawkabilly, because if you prize the Squawkabilly and don't have a heavy ball, it's not turbo anymore. It's just Roaring Moon, and it just doesn't do what you want it to do. We have the 4 Professor Sada Vitality. You want to be playing these basically every single turn. We have 2 Pokégear to help find it. We have 9 basic Dark Energy. I feel like this is a really good number. You could cut down to 8 if you wanted to go down to 8 basic Dark Energy and add in... Honestly, I don't know. This deck list is pretty solid. The second place deck list is pretty solid. I think if I were to cut an energy, it would be for another Night Stretcher potentially a heavy ball, or just another Pokégear to find your Sadas more aggressively. You could also toss in an Iona. We play the Judge here. If your opponent has, a good starting hand, you hit him with Judge, push him down to 4. They could have a bad hand. Judge is a very luck-based card. If they draw into 4 good cards, you're having a bad time. If they draw into 4 bad cards, you're having a good time. 4 Trekking Shoes, you want to turbo through the deck. 4 Pokemon Catchers, just very, very powerful to be able to gust up the optimal target to knock out with Calamity Storm. And if you don't get the Pokemon Catcher heads, you could also just use Frenzied Gouging. Just solid deck list. Solid, very turbo, very consistent. I think we won 12 of our 14 games that we played today with it. Pretty convincingly, too. There was one that was kind of sketchy, and then we lost to Gardevoir. Doesn't have a very good matchup into single prize decks. The Ancient Box deck with the Baby Roaring Moon is really, really sketchy unless they bench multiple 2-prizers like the Fezandipiti. And Gardevoir, sometimes Gardevoir just gets everything they need, and yeah, they just start sniping your bench, taking out your Squawkabillies, taking out your Fezandipitis and your Pecharunts, and they don't even really bother with the Roaring Moons or the Baby Roaring Moons. I'm going to leave a matchup in this video against the Gardevoir, and just if you don't get everything you need and they get, just kind of the average Gardevoir setup, how bad it can be. But against 2-prize decks, dominant. Very, very dominant against 2-prize decks. Let's hop into some matches, and let's show you how it works. All right, Roaring Moon is actually probably our worst starting Pokemon. I don't think there's a worse starting Pokemon than Roaring Moon. Because we want to be able to Dark Patch to our Roaring Moon. So we need to find Pecharunt, Squawkabilly, Greninja, another Roaring Moon. We need to find a lot to pull off a turn 2 attack here. We could definitely do it, though. I mean, we can Earthen Vessel away these energy, grab 2 more energy, Trekking Shoes, see what we get, grab Pokégear. We could Professor Sada. I mean, we could definitely get there. Looks like we got a Dragapult deck, potentially. If we get a turn 2 knockout on Dragapult on this Rotom for 2 prizes, I think that's just game over, right? Because then we just Frenzied Gouging 2 Dragapults to win. They didn't get an attacker down, so we basically have a free turn to set up here, which is fantastic. All right, we're going to dump these energy, and we're just going to kind of prey on the Trekking Shoes. We're going to take the PokéStop. Going to go ahead and play the PokéStop here. Get a Nest Ball. That's what we wanted to see right there. I think we grabbed the Roaring Moon. Probably could have used Trekking Shoes to see what we got, but I like the Roaring Moon grab there, just in case we get Dark Patch, Professor Sada. We've only got 1 energy in the discard. Let's see what we get here. There's the Professor Sada. Yeah, we got to do it on the bench here. Unfortunately, we only have 1 energy. There's the Greninja. I think we're going to thin our deck before we do concealed cards. We're going to grab the Squawkabilly. You could do concealed cards first to see if you get the Squawkabilly off the 2 cards, but we need so many cards here that I like doing this play better. All right, Dark Patch. Attach for turn. So we got the attack if we can get the Pecharunt. We're going to go ahead and we're going to bench Baby Roaring Moon. And we're going to Squawk and Seize. We need a Nest Ball or we need a Pecharunt. Ultra Ball works just fine. And we just got the Pecharunt. Fantastic. Calamity Storm knockout for 2 prizes going second. That is what this deck is built to do. I honestly feel like Raging Bolt is just kind of a more inconsistent Roaring Moon right now. Is that crazy to say? Just the fact you have to play 3 different energy types inside of this deck makes it really, really hard to run. Like they just Professor Sada Vitality for the electric energy. I mean, they do have the knockout on the single prize Roaring Moon, but the prize map just doesn't work out. I'm going to return KO. And unless they get the Pokemon Catcher, which would be really unfortunate, they do run they normally run 4 Pokemon Catchers, 1 Boss's Orders is kind of what I've seen in most lists lately. So there is a chance they could get around this Roaring Moon, but they're kind of running out of juice here. Probably not going to happen. Guess we're going to find out, though. They may just be taking this knockout right here. And honestly, I don't even think I would take that knockout. I think I would just use Burst Roar depending on my hand. And just leave this Roaring Moon in the active. It just, yeah, there's just no reason to take this knockout. they still have to take 4 knockouts to win the game. So this is basically just like a free turn for me because the rest of my Pokemon are 2-prize Pokemon. If we can take out the lone Ogerpon here, that's what I'm going to try and do. All right, so we have Boss and Sada there. All right, we're going to play PokéStop first, see if we can get some Pokemon catchers, or we just push all of our stuff into the discard pile there. We probably should have Ultra Balled for Fezandipiti. I honestly keep forgetting it's in the deck. I'm not used to playing Fezandipiti in this deck yet. All right, let's just do concealed cards here. We're going to put these back. Got 5 energy in the discard. All right, we're going to grab another moon and just Sada to our 2 moons here. We should have a couple of knockouts lined up back to back here. Probably should have Ultra Balled for the Fezandipiti. That was a pretty big mistake. All right, we are definitely going to go after this Ogerpon here. Calamity Storm is much better option. We got the heads on the Pokemon Catcher. Calamity Storm is a much better option. It makes them have to have a lot of energy to be able to do anything. And we have our moon set up here. So we're not going to play the Pokégear. We're going to just leave that in hand. Having a 1-card hand could make our opponent think we have absolutely nothing. And we could just come out of nowhere with a Boss's Orders or a Judge or even our Professor Sada. Take the Ogerpon out of play. Gets rid of a lot of their draw power and energy acceleration. See what we get off our 2 prizes here. Hopefully something good. The Judge, fantastic. So if we whiff the Pokégear, we still have Judge in hand. With the size of their hand, we definitely want to play Judge next turn. It's really hard for Raging Bolt to come back from like Iono and Judge plays in the middle to late game. I think the way that you beat this Raging Bolt deck is just go around the Raging Bolts because they need the Ogerpons, the Fezandipitis, and those type of Pokemon to get enough energy in play to take the proper knockouts. They got a lot of energy in the discard there. If they miss this attack, I'd be very surprised. There's an Ogerpon. So we're going to try and go after the Ogerpon. We're definitely going to play the Pokégear, see if we can grab Boss's Orders. And we'll just Calamity Storm the Ogerpon again. Playing Judge is probably the proper line of play, just to get rid of their 11-card hand. Yeah, they have to get rid of all of these energy in play to be able to attack here. Sometimes even taking out the Fezandipiti in these circumstances is a good idea. And they put the Brave Charm on the Ogerpon. That's very interesting. All right, so we are going to ignore the Ogerpon because we don't want a Frenzied Gouging that. We're going to try and go after the Fezandipiti here. The Brave Charms make it kind of difficult. We do have Pecharunt as an attacker. This is a very powerful attacker that I wish that the Sineske guy who finished second at the World Championships would have utilized a little bit more in his matchup. It only takes 2 energies, and it can do, 240 damage in the end game, which is really, really strong. All right. We want to go after the Fezandipiti here. All right. Can we get another heads on the Pokemon Catcher? Let's go, man. Calamity Storm, Judge, very strong. And we're actually just going to... I think we're just going to power up... I didn't count my energy. But powering up the Pecharunt here isn't a bad idea. We do have... Oh, man. I think we're going to lose. If they get this knockout, I think we lose. All of their energy over here, though. So we could get lucky with the Judge. We could get lucky with our prize cards. Yeah, all 8 of our energy are in play. We have our Night Stretcher, and that's it. There's the Sada. I mean, it's basically what they needed, right? Energy retrieval. Well, let's take bets here. Energy retrieval is about to get played for a grass energy and a fighting. I think if they get this knockout, we just lose. Yep. They got it. We didn't have our final attacker here set up. Raging Bolt pulling it together at the end. We did not set up. We didn't set up our Pecharunt properly here. We could still like come back with this, but we need our Night Stretcher and we need our Dark Patch. Professor Sada will not cut it here. We could Professor Sada, Dark Patch, and if we get the Roaring Moon, but that's a lot. Yeah, not having our Prime Catcher. That Pokégear was clutch. Getting the, they only had 2 Sada max in their deck. We can't put the Pecharunt up. Yeah, we have to get the Roaring Moon. We need 2 card. We need 2 1-of cards in our 15 card deck here. That feels really bad. All right, let's try. There's the Roaring Moon, so that's a start. I think we play Pokégear, try and get stuff out of our deck that we don't need, which we whiff. Do not need Nest Ball. Do not need Ultra Ball. We got to pull everything out of our deck here. I think we can get pretty close to having all of our cards out of our deck. All right, we need 1. There's the Dark Patch, so we're not out of it. Dark Patch, so we need Night Stretcher to win. Oh, we need Night Stretcher off of these 3 cards to win. We got it. We got the Night Stretcher. Oh my gosh. That's some plot armor right there. I would not be happy if I was Ulk Abba here. Oh my gosh. We needed Dark Patch and our Night Stretcher, and it was our last Dark Patch and our 1-of Night Stretcher to make that work. That feels gross. Still got the dub, though. Crazy. That was the energy I was looking for on the previous turn. I thought we had 1 more energy in the deck. That's how we were going to power up our Pecharunt. Most decks starting the Squawkabilly doesn't feel great, but in this deck it's awesome because you can set up with Dark Patch on your bench. This is a really good hand. All right. Odds that they concede immediately when they see a Pecharunt. What are the odds, guys? Let's find out. They're 100% going to concede when they see this. I knew it. I knew it. They see the Pecharunt. They just give up. The Pecharunt is too strong. Pecharunt, however you want to pronounce it. Snorlax can't do anything about the Pecharunt. This is just an auto win. That's why I love this deck right now. You don't lose to Snorlax anymore. Whenever they flip over that Snorlax, it's a good time for you versus it being a good time for them. Because normally, Roaring Moon had a terrible time against Snorlax Stall. They would just trap your Greninja. They would trap your Squawkabilly. It was a bad time. All right, let's see if we can get a better. Do we count that? Do we count that as a win? I think we're going to count that one as a win. Just because we forced them to concede. That's what they get for playing Snorlax Stall. You can't play Snorlax Stall right now. Roaring Moon's too popular. Pecharunt's too popular. Too many decks are running it. Starting a Fezandipiti is not great. But giving your opponent a mulligan's even worse. They got the Pecharunt sleeves. Mimikyu. Probably Gardevoir, if I had to guess. This just seems like a Gardevoir type of game. Once you start winning too many matches in a row, they throw the Gardevoir at you to completely body you. Our baby Roaring Moon's a really good attacker in this matchup. We needed to get around Mimikyu, obviously. We can Frenzied Gouging this, but it's not great to do that. Fezandipiti, Squawkabilly, and Pecharunt are all really easy targets for Roaring Scream, so we got to be really careful with that. Even though Gardevoir's weak to Dark, it's not free. It's not an easy matchup. Gardevoir is just so strong. I feel like Gardevoir's been like the S tier deck for its entire existence, and if you can play it well, and you've been playing it, you know, getting really, really good at it, it's really hard to beat. All right, we need a lot here. We got a lot of energy. We got a lot of energy. We need a Judge here, don't we? Yeah. I mean, we don't. We have nothing. I think we trap the energy on the Mimikyu, and we try and bring up one of the Ralts. Not a lot else we can do here. We're just going to Judge. This feels bad. This is a pretty rough start. We got the Squawk, though, which is great. We're going to try and do the same thing here. Got the heads. I think just having this Ralts in the active is a little bit better than the Mimikyu. It traps the energy there so they can't retreat it for something else. And yeah, we're going to Squawk and Seize here. All right. I'm going to grab probably Greninja, but it's prized, of course. I think we just attached the energy there, and we're just going to leave the Fezandipiti. They would need Rare Candy, Gardevoir, 4 energy. They would need a lot here. They would need a lot. They could just attack with Gardevoir EX and Monkey Dorius as well, but I just don't see it. They are getting the energy into the discard pretty aggressively here. They could just be retreating to the Mimikyu, though. There's Iona, which is fine. Actually helps us quite a bit. Dark Patch is great. Pecharunt's going to be or Pecharunt, however you want to pronounce it. I'm going to call it Pecharunt. It's going to be a really powerful attacker in this game. Probably going to use it to knock out a Gardevoir EX in the later stages, if it gets that far. There's the Devo. I don't like how Mimikyu can just wall us if they take out our lone Roaring Moon, our baby Roaring Moon. It could be kind of tough to deal with later because we've already gotten rid of 2 of our gusting options. In Pokemon Catcher, they're not even guaranteed. So if they retreat, we may just have to take the knockout on the Mimikyu just to get it out of play. We may not have a choice. I don't see any reason why they would leave the Ralts. Yeah, there's the Mimikyu. Question is, do they have Rare Candy Gardevoir? They do not. All right. I think we need to grab another Roaring Moon. Gonna hit the PokéStop here. Hopefully we don't mill our Professor Sadas. That was actually a really good PokéStop. Yeah, we got to keep the Pecharunt for later. That was unfortunate that that was the option. All right, we're going to go ahead and attach an energy to Pecharunt here, or Pecharunt. We don't want to have an in-game like before where we just don't have an attacker unless we draw absolutely everything. We don't want that to happen again. All right, there's a Pokemon Catcher. Fezandipiti is a pretty strong attack. I wish Fezandipiti's attack was not 3 colorless energy. If Fezandipiti's attack was 2 colorless energy, it'd be so much fun to play because you could just use a double turbo and snipe for 80 on the bench. That's probably why they have it as a 3 attack cost, but it'd be really cool if it was 2. Or even just having it like 1 dark, 1 colorless. That would even be okay. We're probably going to end up regretting not attacking with or attaching that energy to this Roaring Moon. Spreading out the energy could end up being a bad play. But if they take a knockout on the Roaring Moon, then we could return KO with the Pecharunt on anything on their board. So just depends on what they decide to do. Gardevoir is just busted, man. It's so hard to deal with. They do need to deal with this, though. That's the thing. So they have to take 4. They need 4 turns to win this game. They have to deal with this because it's just too efficient of an attacker against all of their low HP Pokemon. And eventually it's going to start taking 1-hit KOs on like their Gardevoir EX. So they really need to knock this out. And there's a chance here that we could win in 4 turns as well, depending on what they do here. If they knock this out, then they still need to take 3 knockouts, which aren't guaranteed, of course. And then, you know, the prize mapping works out to where we're going to be at 1 prize and they're going to be at 2, and it's going to be their turn. And if they get a 2 prize knockout, they win, which could probably be Squawkabilly. Okay, there's the Gardevoir. That's what I like to see. I know it sounds crazy, but if they Balloon Blast, you know, like the Squawkabilly or something like that, it's not the end of the world. It's actually not that bad. Yeah, they're going to move this probably down to Fezandipiti for a Roaring Scream play later. See if they have the counter catcher. They always got the counter catcher, right? Yeah. I don't agree with that play. I mean, I know it draws me 3 cards, but it's not guaranteed. So we're just going to push back up the Roaring Moon, and we're going to take out the Drifloon. They're probably going to Super Rod back the Mimikyu, Curlia, and the Drifloon next turn. Did they play the PokéStop down here? They had a crazy long turn. Yeah, let's see what they got. That was a pretty bad mill. The Iono, Arven, Curly. I wasn't honestly paying attention to that. All right, PokéStop. Would like to see a Pokégear here. Not all of our PokéStops. Come on now. We did not want to see that. Not having Greninja here is really unfortunate. We'd have so much draw power with Greninja right now. So we're doing 160 with the weakness. I think we just benched the other Pecharunt. I think that this is such a good attacker in this matchup that we want to make sure we have one on the board at all times, because we could easily get, you know, Iono'd. All right, next turn is when we want to go after the EX. If they don't pick it up with Professor Turo. If they knock out this Roaring Moon, then we're in business. If they do not go around this Roaring Moon, yeah, if they have the Brave Charm Screamtail here, I think we just lose. Because they can Monkey Dory down here, Roaring Scream, the Squawkabilly, and then they could Counter Catcher or boss up the Pecharunt for the win. Yeah, there's the Brave Charm. They're going to grab Screamtail, Roaring Scream. We still want to go after their Gardevoir here, though. They could actually get the Pecharunt here. They may actually just go after this. The one with the energy on it. They have not played their Super Rod. There's almost no chance, because they'll pick up the Gardevoir at the end. Whenever I go down the 2 prizes, they'll just pick this up. They could have prized their Super Rod as well. I wonder what they're going to do here. They definitely should go after this. They should put 30 here. And then Roaring Scream, yeah. It would have been kind of silly to do anything else. But they're going to take out the Pecharunt. That's why we put the second one in play. A Judge would be really good right here. We haven't seen a Sada this entire game, have we? No. I think we discarded that one. So for not having like any energy acceleration, we're not doing too bad. But I think we're gonna end up losing this. Does turn off their counter catchers though. That's the big thing. They're turning off their counter catchers, and they're probably going to get everything they need off the prizes. From what it looks like, they probably prized their Super Rod and one of their Curlias, and that's probably what they're going to get here. Are they just going to take the Roaring Moon? I don't think that's correct. I don't think taking the Roaring Moon is correct at all. They should have taken this. Taking this was silly. We honestly didn't. We're not going to even need the Roaring Moon to win this game. We need a Judge here. If we don't get a Judge, we just lose. Like, we have to lower their hand size. Like, I think we're just going to put back the Judge. Yeah, if you allow Gardevoir to do the 2-2-2 prize trade, you're just going to lose every time. If they have Super Rod, they just win. The only good thing about the Roaring Moon is it could have gotten rid of this this PokéStop. That's it. That's the only thing that it would have done for us. We got to have Judge. We got to have Judge. There's no way they don't have everything in their hand. We're going to mill it right here. This is what Gardevoir does to you, man. We've had nothing. We've had absolutely nothing this game. All right. Yeah. They're just going to Super Rod, Nest Ball, and Roaring Scream take out Squawkabilly. That's how this game's going to end. There's our Greninja. Yeah, boss's orders or Super Rod wins him the game. There's Counter Catcher. I don't think they'll ever have Counter Catcher back online here. They need Super Rod. There it is. That's game. Had to have Judge. We need a Judge. Knew they had it in their hand. Their hand's too big. That's, you know, no hand disruption on Gardevoir. This is what happens. You just get absolutely rolled. They got Nest Ball. They don't have Nest Ball. Okay. This is like textbook how to be good with Gardevoir right here. Take 2 prize knockouts while your opponent can only take 1 prize knockouts because they have a bad hand. Basically how it works, right? Iono'd themselves to 2 and they just straight up get the Scream Tail. Sometimes that's just how it works. Gardevoir is just really good. They can take 2 prizes with their 1 prize Pokemon, and new content is available. Please restart the game. All right, we're going to restart the game. Maybe they fixed some stuff. Maybe we can play United Wings now. All right, Roaring Moon is actually probably our worst starting Pokemon. I don't think there's a worse starting Pokemon than Roaring Moon. Because we want to be able to Dark Patch to our Roaring Moon. So we need to find Pecharunt, Squawkabilly, Greninja, another Roaring Moon. We need to find a lot to pull off a turn 2 attack here. We could definitely do it though. I mean, we can Earthen Vessel away these energy, grab 2 more energy, Trekking Shoes, see what we get, grab Pokégear. We could Professor Sada. I mean, we could definitely get there. Looks like we got a Dragapult deck potentially. If we get a turn 2 knockout on Dragapult on this Rotom for 2 prizes, I think that's just game over, right? Because then we just Frenzied Gouging 2 Dragapults to win. They didn't get an attacker down, so we basically have a free turn to set up here, which is fantastic. All right, we're going to dump these energy, and we're just going to kind of prey on the Trekking Shoes. We're going to take the PokéStop. Going to go ahead and play the PokéStop here. Get a Nest Ball. That's what we wanted to see right there. I think we grabbed the Roaring Moon. Probably could have used Trekking Shoes to see what we got. But I like the Roaring Moon grab there, just in case we get Dark Patch, Professor Sada. We only got 1 energy in the discard. Let's see what we get here. There's the Professor Sada. Yeah, we got to do it on the bench here. Unfortunately, we only have 1 energy. There's the Greninja. I think we're going to thin our deck before we do concealed cards. We're going to grab the Squawkabilly. You could do concealed cards first to see if you get the Squawkabilly off the 2 cards, but we need so many cards here that I like doing this play better. All right, Dark Patch. Attach for turn. So we got the attack if we can get the Pecharunt. We're going to go ahead and we're going to bench Baby Roaring Moon. And we're going to Squawk and Seize. We need a Nest Ball or we need a Pecharunt. Ultra Ball works just fine. And we just got the Pecharunt. Fantastic. Calamity Storm knockout for 2 prizes going second. That is what this deck is built to do. I feel like I start Prime Catcher in my hand like every game. And I don't like it. I don't like starting Squawkabilly in my hand. Or not Squawkabilly, Prime Catcher in my hand, because we end up just dumping it with Squawkabilly. Are we playing a Roaring Moon mirror match here? Okay. Miraidon it. Miraidon's okay. Problem with Miraidon is it only hits 220. They need to hit 230. I think that Roaring Moon's slightly favored against Miraidon just for that fact. Because the only things that can take a one-hit KO are... I guess if you have a full bench with the Zapdos, you can take a knockout with Miraidon, and you can take a knockout with the Raikou, if I have a full bench as well. But that's if they have the Raichu. They should definitely grab the Raichu here. They didn't use the second tandem unit. I think maybe they forgot? Maybe? I don't know. I don't know. All right, I think we need Greninja here. Concealed cards to start. That's what we want to see. Gonna hit the PokéStop, see what we can get here. Dark Patch, fantastic. Nest Ball, fantastic. Do we just want to take out the Fezandipiti? Because we're going to be dumping this regardless. I think we just want to take out the Fezandipiti. Right? I don't see any reason to not take out the Fezandipiti. I think we're whiffing an attack here regardless of what happens. I think we whiffed our attack. Because we need Professor Sada, energy, and a way to discard the energy. Grab our Fezandipiti. We're going to leave an open bench slot here so they can't just bonk us with Raikou. This feels bad, man. Hey, we got it. We got it. We got it. Love to see it. I think we just grab the other Roaring Moon. And unfortunately, they have a return KO with the Raikou if we do that. If they fill up their bench, which they can easily do. Do we forego the energy to prevent the Raikou KO? Yes. I think we just take the Raikou knockout here for the energy. Taking out their Fezandipiti feels really good, honestly. If they're whiffing, they could just be whiffing really, really hard because we're taking the PokéStop out of play as well. If they just don't have anything in hand, then we could just run them over. Pecharunt is a really good attacker in this matchup as well. After we get our second Roaring Moon set up, we want to just start attaching to our Pecharunt. Yeah, they're going to grab the Zapdos here. And they just need one more Pokemon on the bench, and they got the knockout. With how many cards we're going to draw here, I think there's a good shot that we get there. Now, we've only played one Dark Patch. Yeah, there's almost zero chance that we don't get the attack here. Do they play two Fezandipiti? That's the question. Okay, they play Mew, which is actually a really bad card to put down because if we bench our baby Roaring Moon, that's another viable attacker we have now because it can one-hit KO this with weakness. I think instead of setting up the Pecharunt, we may end up setting up the baby Roaring Moon, depending on if we can get the Sada and counter catchers to hit. If we get a Professor Sada here, we're going to Ultra Ball, grab the baby Moon, Sada, attach for turn, and then, yeah, take the knockout on the Mew EX. They need an electric generator here really bad. Because even though they're getting the 2 prizes here, like as long as we can chain together our 2-2-2 prize line, then we just win. Yeah, they got to be grabbing. They got to be grabbing that electric generator. No shot they grabbed anything else. Let's see if they get 4 or 2 energy off of it. 1. That's really not good for them. They're not having a very like explosive time with this Miraidon deck. This is probably Jesse Parker's list. Really good list. Honestly, I can't remember if he played Mew or not. All right, let's push up Fezandipiti. Got 3 there. There's the Night Stretcher, so we have the energy back if we need it. So let's go ahead and concealed cards. And we're going to flip the script. We need a Professor Sada here to make this work. There's Sada and Dark Patch. All right. All right. I think we dump Pokégear Judge here. We want to grab the Baby Moon. And we need to see if we can get the Mew before we do this. All right, with that, we just need one of these to hit heads. There it is. All right. So now we're going to have a single prizer in the active, which is really, really bad for them. All right, we're going to put up the baby Roaring Moon here. I think we're going to set up our Pecharunt as well, just in case they manage to knock out our Roaring Moon. If they go around, knock out our Roaring Moon, we're going to want the Pecharunt to take the last 2 prizes. I think this just kind of guarantees the game, pretty close to it. They could still take out our Roaring Moon and attach a Brave Charm. That's definitely a play they have. If we can find boss's orders, we just win, though. 15 cards. Have we played? Yeah, we still have a Pokégear. We've only played 1 PokéStop. So there's a good chance we're going to find Pokemon catchers. Actually, we played all 4 of them. Discarded or played all 4. So we're looking for boss's orders next turn to guarantee the win if they Brave Charm their Miraidon. Pecharunt does 240 damage if they've taken 4 prize cards. I think I want to look up Jesse Parker's list. Let's look up Jesse Parker's list here. Tournament, World Championship, Jesse Parker. He did play the Mew. That's interesting. He played Mew, Blood Moon Ursaluna, Iron Bundle, Fezandipiti, Zapdos. He played a lot of 1-ofs. Played a lot of 1-ofs. But this is what happens when you don't just burn through your deck with electric generators. And Fezandipiti. If he would have had the extra, 3 cards off of Fezandipiti, there's a good chance that he'd have a lot more going on here. He really needs to Prime Catcher knock out something else. If he doesn't knock this, if he knocks this out, he just loses. Yeah, so there's the Prime Catcher. Exactly as we were speaking about it, they get it. So they take out the Roaring Moon, which is fine. They have to Brave Charm this, though. If they don't Brave... Yeah. If they would have Brave Charmed and attacked with this Miraidon, then they had a chance. I wonder if they realize that Pecharunt can also attack. Most people don't. If you were watching the World Championships and you were screaming at the guy who was playing the Roaring Moon deck to just use Pecharunt to win the game in the later stages after they had taken 4 prize cards, You're not alone. All right. Yeah, 2 energy attack. That does 240 in the end game. Does 300 if they've taken 5 prizes. It's crazy. But it's really good. A really good attacker. In the mirror match against Miraidon, you could just kind of, you know, manually attach, use Dark Patches, set this guy up. There's the boss right there. We would have lost. Yeah. I mean, they had a route. They would have had to use Iron Hands twice there. On the Squawkabilly and then on a Roaring Moon. Don't see it. Yeah. Miraidon is basically free, it feels like. Especially if they bench the Mew EX, it's basically just it's just basically it's free. Oh, this deck is kind of broken when it works, and it really doesn't feel that bad when it bricks because it's just so turbo that it just, you never brick. I mean, you always end up with an attacker, you know, by your second turn, it feels like. I think I whiffed a turn 2 going second attack one time all day. And that was from milling a bunch of really bad stuff with PokéStop. Busted. Absolutely busted. Let me know what you guys think of Roaring Moon down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.